Okay, we are going to um, understand about the macro code. Few of you are asking where this macro uh, is stored, how to change its name, how to know the different information, and why it is not an absolute macro, why it is a relative macro. So let's see where we find the code that we had stored for this macro. So each time when we record a macro, it is not like physical recording, it is a recording of the code only. So it doesn't matter for how long the record button is on, it does not consume any space. So when you click write or delete or perform any operation, only then the code is written to the file. So where can we find this code? There are two ways where we can find the macro code, and we can modify some parts of it to further customize the code. The first method is to click on the macro icon in the developer tab. This is the second icon, and then select the relevant macro. So our macro was copy, paste, and delete, and then click on the edit button.
Sir, you haven't enabled your mic, sir.
Sorry about that. It will open this dialog box, and in this dialog box we can see the code for the recorded macros. So let's see the interface of this specific window. This is the Visual Basic uh, window where we can see all recorded codes. Our codes lie in the menu called modules. So previously we created some macro in this file. They are all located in module 1. Today we also recorded two macros, so they are in module 2. And in Visual Basic, this prime symbol, which is right to the left of the enter button, we use this symbol for recording comments. Comments are not part of the code, they are not executed, they are just for readability and for um, helping the reader. If you do not type comment, it will not affect the code, but it is for readability purposes. So the first macro that we created, it starts with the letter sub, and then name of the macro, we called it copy paste delete macro, and then empty brackets, open parentheses and closed parentheses. So this is how a macro starts, and this is how the macro ends, with the keywords and sub. In between, this is the code of all the operations that we performed in this macro. So let's read this code. The first operation that we performed was on sheet lesson 4. We selected this sheet. So this is the code for selecting a sheet. In this sheet, range B3 to D8 select, we selected this range. Then selection.copy, we copied the selected range. After that, we selected lesson 5 sheet, and you wonder why the macro was not absolute macro, because we did not click on cell B4. We should have clicked. if we had clicked, this code would have appeared. So range since I forgot that to click B4 in that lesson 5 sheet, I'm doing it right now. So range B4, and you see the cell reference is closed in double quotes dot select. Now this has made the macro absolute. It will always select range B4 after the step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After step number 5. At step 5, it will always select this range. So no matter where have you clicked, it will always paste the data in there. So once the range is selected, then ActiveSheet.paste will paste the data, and the last code is we select range D10 and then we end the macro. We can run the macro by clicking on this button, run sub, etc. So we don't have to save it. If you save it, it's okay, it saves the whole file. If you have made changes and you do not save, still the macro works. We close it, and now let's go back, and I'm clicking, let's say not on B4 because I want to check whether it is absolute macro or it is relative macro. So I'm clicking here, and now I copy. So you see it comes back to B4. Again, I'm clicking here. When I say copy, it pastes the data in B4. The reason was, let's go back to the macro. The reason was that we made this macro absolute. It is not necessary to go into the code and make it absolute. It can be made absolute without going into the code. Only it was that we forgot to click on B4 while we were recording the macro. If you do this, you do not have to go into the code. So let's see the code one more time. This is the macro that we want to explore. So I selected it, click on edit button, and these are the steps. We selected lesson 4 sheet. In there we selected D3 to D8 range. We copied the range. After copying, we went to lesson 5 sheet. We selected B4 on that sheet. So that makes the macro absolute. And then on that selected cell, we paste the data, and then we select another cell, and then we close the macro. So I would like you to have practice on this, make these changes, make this macro absolute, and if there is any problem, you can share that with me sharing your screen. Thank you.